is the Rosetta Stone. It was the key to understanding Egyptian hieroglyphics, and it is one of the most precious and valuable treasures of the British Museum.
The Rosetta Stone has long stood as one of humanity's greatest linguistic breakthroughs, a bridge between worlds separated by millennia. Discovered by soldiers during Napoleon's campaign in Egypt, the stone became the key that unlocked the long silent language of ancient Egypt. For centuries, scholars labored to decode its inscriptions, eventually leading to the decipherment of hieroglyphs by Jean-François Champollion in the 19th century. That achievement transformed our understanding of ancient Egyptian civilization. Yet even with that monumental success, the Rosetta Stone never truly gave up all its secrets.
6 million people visit the British Museum every year. The Egyptian collection is a huge draw, and one of the biggest attractions, the Rosetta Stone.
Its inscriptions were understood, translated, and studied endlessly, but subtle ambiguities, contextual gaps, and interpretive uncertainties remained. For generations, historians believed they had extracted everything the artifact could offer. That assumption has now been shattered. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news in a development that has sent shockwaves through academic and technological communities alike. Advanced artificial intelligence systems have reanalyzed the Rosetta Stone using techniques far beyond human capability. These systems did not merely translate the text more efficiently. They reconstructed layers of meaning embedded in linguistic patterns, syntactic structures, and cultural references that had remained invisible to human scholars. By processing vast corpora of ancient Egyptian texts, cross-referencing dialectal variations, and modeling semantic relationships with unprecedented precision, AI uncovered something far more profound than a refined translation. It revealed that what was thought to be a straightforward decree was, in fact, a deeply complex and politically charged document with implications that challenge long-standing assumptions about ancient Egypt. The Rosetta Stone contains a decree issued in 196 BCE during the reign of Ptolemy V, written in 3 scripts: hieroglyphic, demotic, and Greek. For centuries, scholars believed the 3 versions conveyed essentially the same message, tailored for different audiences. The Greek text, being the most easily understood, served as the primary reference for translation. The hieroglyphic and demotic scripts were interpreted as formal and everyday versions of the same decree, reinforcing the notion that the stone was a straightforward administrative proclamation celebrating the king's achievements and legitimizing his rule. AI analysis has upended this assumption. By comparing the 3 scripts at a granular level, the system identified subtle but significant divergences in tone, emphasis, and even content. The Greek version presents a polished and idealized narrative of royal authority, portraying Ptolemy V as a benevolent and divinely sanctioned ruler. The hieroglyphic text, traditionally associated with priestly and religious contexts, appears to embed symbolic language that reframes the decree, in theological terms, aligning the king with divine forces in a way that goes beyond mere flattery. But it is the demotic text, long considered a simplified version for the general populace, that contains the most startling revelations. The AI detected patterns in the demotic script that suggest deliberate linguistic encoding, a form of layered communication designed to convey different meanings to different audiences. Certain phrases, when analyzed in context with contemporary texts and regional dialects, appear to carry connotations that are absent from the Greek version. What was previously translated as praise for the king's tax reforms, for example, may actually reflect widespread dissatisfaction and coercion. The language, while outwardly compliant, contains subtle markers of resistance and negotiation between the ruling elite and local populations. This reinterpretation challenges the long-held belief that the Rosetta Stone represents a unified and uncontested expression of royal authority. Instead, it suggests a more fragmented and contested political landscape, where different groups engaged with the decree in complex and sometimes contradictory ways. The stone becomes not just a tool of propaganda, but a record of tension, compromise, and strategic communication. AI's ability to uncover these nuances stems from its capacity to analyze patterns at a scale and depth impossible for human researchers. Traditional scholarship relies on comparative analysis, intuition, and accumulated expertise, but it is constrained by the limits of human cognition. AI, by contrast, can process millions of linguistic permutations, identify correlations across vast datasets, and model probabilistic meanings with extraordinary accuracy. In the case of the Rosetta Stone, this meant identifying inconsistencies that had gone unnoticed for over 2 centuries. One of the most significant findings involves the structure of certain key passages. The AI identified recurring syntactic patterns that correspond to known rhetorical devices used in ancient Egyptian administrative texts. These patterns suggest that parts of the decree were deliberately structured to obscure their true meaning, employing a form of bureaucratic language designed to mask controversial policies. What appears on the surface as a celebration of royal generosity may, upon closer inspection, reveal the imposition of burdensome obligations on local communities. This raises profound questions about the nature of historical texts and the assumptions that underpin their interpretation. For centuries, scholars have treated ancient inscriptions as relatively transparent windows into the past, albeit requiring careful translation and contextualization. The AI's findings suggest that these texts may be far more opaque and strategically constructed than previously believed. Language, even in ancient contexts, was not merely a tool for communication, but a means of control, negotiation, and concealment. The implications extend beyond the Rosetta Stone itself. If such layers of meaning exist in one of the most studied artifacts in human history, it is reasonable to assume that similar complexities may be present in other ancient texts. AI's ability to uncover these hidden dimensions could fundamentally reshape our understanding of entire civilizations. Histories that have been constructed over centuries may need to be reevaluated in light of new evidence, revealing narratives that are more nuanced, contested, and dynamic than previously imagined. The revelation also highlights the limitations of traditional methodologies. For all their rigor and sophistication, human-driven approaches to decipherment and interpretation are inherently constrained by cognitive biases and methodological assumptions. The reliance on the Greek text of the Rosetta Stone as a baseline, for example, reflects an implicit trust in its accuracy and completeness. AI's analysis demonstrates that this trust may have been misplaced, as the Greek version appears to present a sanitized and possibly manipulated account of events. This does not diminish the achievements of earlier scholars whose work laid the foundation for modern understanding. Rather, it underscores the evolving nature of knowledge and the role of new technologies in expanding the boundaries of what is possible. The decipherment of hieroglyphs was once considered an insurmountable challenge, overcome through ingenuity and persistence. Today, AI is pushing those boundaries further, revealing complexities that were previously unimaginable. The findings also invite a reconsideration of the relationship between language and power. The Rosetta Stone, in its newly interpreted form, emerges as a testament to the ways in which language can be used to shape perception, manage dissent, and reinforce authority. The existence of multiple versions of the same decree, each tailored to a specific audience, suggests a sophisticated understanding of communication strategies in ancient Egypt. The rulers and their administrators were not merely issuing commands, they were crafting messages designed to resonate differently with different groups, balancing the need for legitimacy with the realities of governance. This perspective aligns with broader trends in the study of ancient societies, which increasingly emphasize complexity and diversity over simplicity and uniformity. The idea of a monolithic state with a unified voice is giving way to a more fragmented and dynamic view, where multiple actors and perspectives coexist and interact. The Rosetta Stone, once seen as a symbol of unity and clarity, now appears as a microcosm of this complexity. AI's role in uncovering these insights is both transformative and unsettling. It demonstrates the potential of technology to enhance our understanding of the past, but it also raises questions about the reliability of established knowledge. If AI can reveal such significant discrepancies in a well-studied artifact, what other assumptions might be called into question? The possibility that entire bodies of historical interpretation may need to be revised is both exciting and daunting. The process by which the AI arrived at its conclusions is itself a remarkable achievement. By integrating advances in natural language processing, machine learning, and computational linguistics, the system was able to reconstruct linguistic relationships across time and space. It analyzed not only the Rosetta Stone, but also a vast array of related texts, identifying patterns and correlations that provide context for its findings. This holistic approach represents a departure from traditional methods, which often focus on individual texts in isolation. One of the key innovations lies in the AI's ability to model semantic ambiguity. Human translators often struggle with words and phrases that have multiple meanings, relying on context and intuition to make judgments. AI, however, can assign probabilities to different interpretations, allowing it to explore a range of possibilities simultaneously. This capability proved crucial in identifying the layered meanings within the demotic text, where subtle variations in wording can carry significant implications. The discovery has sparked intense debate within the academic community. Some scholars have embraced the findings as a breakthrough, while others have expressed caution, emphasizing the need for rigorous validation and peer review. The idea that AI could fundamentally alter our understanding of such a foundational artifact is both thrilling and unsettling, challenging traditional notions of expertise and authority. At the heart of the controversy lies a deeper question about the nature of knowledge itself. To what extent can we trust interpretations generated by machines? How do we reconcile AI-driven insights with established scholarship? These questions do not have easy answers, but they highlight the need for a collaborative approach that integrates human expertise with technological innovation. The Rosetta Stone has always been a symbol of translation and understanding, a bridge between languages and cultures. In light of these new findings, it takes on an additional significance as a reminder of the complexity and ambiguity inherent in human communication. The idea that a single text can contain multiple, potentially conflicting meanings challenges the notion of a fixed and objective historical record. This realization has broader implications for how we approach the study of history. It suggests that our understanding of the past is always provisional, subject to revision as new evidence and methodologies emerge. The integration of AI into historical research represents a new chapter in this ongoing process, offering tools that can uncover hidden dimensions and challenge established narratives. The revelations about the Rosetta Stone also resonate with contemporary concerns about information, interpretation, and truth. In a world where language is often used to shape perceptions and influence behavior, the idea that such practices have deep historical roots is both sobering and illuminating. The strategies employed in ancient Egypt to manage communication and authority are not entirely alien to modern societies, highlighting the enduring relevance of these findings. As the implications of this discovery continue to unfold, it is clear that the Rosetta Stone has once again transformed our understanding of the past. What was once seen as a solved puzzle has revealed itself to be far more intricate and enigmatic than previously believed. The application of AI has not only deepened our knowledge, but also exposed the limitations of our assumptions, inviting a more nuanced and critical approach to the study of history. The story of the Rosetta Stone is no longer just about the triumph of decipherment. It is about the ongoing process of interpretation, the interplay between language and power, and the ways in which new technologies can reshape our understanding of even the most familiar artifacts. In this sense, the stone continues to fulfill its role as a bridge, not only between languages but between past and present, tradition and innovation, certainty and discovery. What makes this moment even more striking is the realization that the boundaries between translation and interpretation have effectively collapsed. For generations, translation was treated as a technical act, the careful substitution of words from one language into another while preserving meaning as faithfully as possible. Interpretation, on the other hand, was considered a more subjective layer, shaped by historical context, scholarly debate, and human judgment. The AI's work on the Rosetta Stone has demonstrated that these two processes cannot be cleanly separated. Meaning is not simply extracted from text, it is constructed through layers of probability, association, and hidden structure that operate beneath the surface of language itself. In reconstructing those hidden structures, the system uncovered evidence of deliberate asymmetry in how authority was communicated. Certain segments of the inscription appear to shift in grammatical emphasis depending on the intended audience, altering not just tone but agency. Actions attributed directly to the ruler in one script are diffused into collective or impersonal forms in another, subtly redistributing responsibility. This suggests that the decree was not merely translated across scripts, but strategically reauthored in each version, reshaping accountability and perception depending on who was reading it. The implication is that the text was never a single unified statement, but a coordinated set of messages engineered to function differently across social strata. This discovery forces a confrontation with the idea that ancient administrative language may have operated with a level of intentional ambiguity comparable to modern political communication. The precision with which these shifts were embedded indicates that scribes and officials were not only fluent in multiple linguistic systems, but also acutely aware of how structural choices could influence interpretation. The inscription becomes less a static artifact and more an active instrument designed to produce specific cognitive and social effects in its readers. Another layer of complexity emerges from the AI's ability to track patterns of omission rather than inclusion. By comparing the Rosetta Stone to other contemporary inscriptions, the system identified expected elements that are conspicuously absent in certain sections. These gaps are not random. They appear in places where additional detail would normally clarify obligations, legal conditions, or administrative procedures. Their absence suggests a form of intentional silence, where what is not said carries as much weight as what is explicitly stated. This introduces the possibility that the decree relied on shared cultural knowledge or unspoken agreements that would have been understood by its original audience, but are invisible to later readers. The implications of this are profound because they challenge the assumption that completeness can be achieved through analysis alone. Even with advanced computational tools, there may remain dimensions of meaning that are fundamentally tied to lived experience and cannot be fully reconstructed. The AI's findings do not eliminate ambiguity. They reveal its structure. They show that uncertainty is not merely a byproduct of lost knowledge, but an integral feature of how the text was composed. The system also identified recurring patterns of emphasis that align with known cycles of political instability during the period. Certain phrases appear to intensify or soften depending on their position within the text, creating a rhythm of reassurance and assertion that mirrors broader social tensions. This suggests that the inscription was crafted with an awareness of fluctuating public sentiment, using language to stabilize perception in moments of potential unrest. The decree, in this sense, functions not just as a record, but as an intervention, actively shaping the environment in which it was received. One of the most unsettling aspects of these findings is the extent to which they expose the fragility of certainty in historical knowledge. The Rosetta Stone has long been treated as a cornerstone of linguistic and historical understanding, a reference point against which other discoveries are measured. To uncover such deep layers of constructed meaning within it is to confront the possibility that other foundational texts may harbor similar complexities. The stability of entire interpretive frameworks comes into question, not because they are entirely incorrect, but because they may be incomplete in ways that are only now becoming visible. The role of AI in this process also introduces a shift in how authority is distributed within scholarship. Traditionally, expertise has been grounded in years of specialized study, linguistic mastery, and familiarity with historical context. While those elements remain essential, the introduction of systems capable of detecting patterns beyond human perception alters the balance. Insight is no longer derived solely from what can be consciously observed or reasoned through. It can emerge from computational processes that operate at scales and depths inaccessible to individual researchers. This creates a tension between transparency and capability. The AI can produce conclusions that are supported by vast networks of correlations. Yet the pathways through which those conclusions are reached may not always be easily interpretable. Scholars are faced with the challenge of engaging with findings that are both highly precise and, at times, difficult to fully unpack. The Rosetta Stone, once decoded through human ingenuity, now presents a new kind of puzzle. Not how to read it, but how to understand the mechanisms by which its deeper meanings are being revealed. The event marks a turning point in the relationship between technology and the humanities. It demonstrates that the study of ancient texts is no longer confined to traditional methods, but is becoming an interdisciplinary field where computational analysis plays a central role. This does not diminish the importance of human insight. Rather, it expands the range of tools available for uncovering meaning. The challenge lies in integrating these tools in a way that preserves critical thinking while embracing new forms of discovery. At its core, what has emerged is not just a revised understanding of a single artifact, but a redefinition of what it means to decode something. decoding is no longer about arriving at a final, definitive interpretation. It is about revealing layers, exposing structures, and recognizing that meaning can exist in multiple, overlapping forms. The Rosetta Stone, once thought to have yielded its secrets, now stands as evidence that even the most familiar texts can contain depths that remain hidden until new ways of seeing are applied. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on AI decoding the Rosetta Stone? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.